Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I Bankrupt once again by Jimmy and Nick.
Nah.
Yeah.
And today's matchup is, well, Jimmy versus Nick. Nick has brought us Android 21 from set 20, and Jimmy's brought us Supreme Kai of Time, which you all saw his profile, I think Saturday or something. But yeah, there's buttons, links. Let's get into the matchup. Also, real quick, the spacing of this was really interesting because I think it was Nick who joked about it. He's like, we'll just use your full mat, Jimmy. And I think you guys were realizing how tight of a space you actually had for this?
Well, I mean,
Jimmy
I
told a little bit, but
I told him like this is my mat, homie. Get your own fucking mat. And then he was like, he insisted on it. So I guess this is the one and only time this mat is ever going to be used as a two-player mat.
Yeah.
Well, I figured it'd be easier because you could fold that fucker over and you have card dipping. It's easier for everybody.
Yeah, we out here just cutting shit. I made sure to cut a Z deck. That's very important.
Yeah.
You chose not to cut my Z deck, which was a mistake because I did stack the Z deck. Z stack.
So
Yeah.
Nick, you were
That's
gone. Nick, you were gone for a while, and I remember you were also one of the few people who were interested in this particular leader. So you finally get a chance to. Last week you brought us Spirit Bomb, Goku, Vegeta, and so this time you brought 21. How are you liking it?
I guess we skipped a week, but yeah. It's good. I mean, it's
the last week matter.
Oh, I guess not. Whatever, but yeah, it's your standard control deck. I mean, it's been making waves in the meta. So a lot of people. I feel like this deck has been more or less figured out, besides one or two like tech pieces. So there's not really much to say about it other than it's here. It's good. And one of the techs now is you put pan to give people blue energy, and that's one of the things I wanted to make sure. Because I wanted to pay. I wanted to pay less for my cards, so I wanted to give him a little baby so I can have it.
Take care of that baby. So I knew that 21 kind of just like hard caves to aggro. If you play 21 at all, you understand that. So I was feeling really good in this opening hand. Like I was looking at it, I was like, I can push hard here. And then I have good follow-ups to that depending on my draws, which draws tend to be pretty decent because most of your cards that you want to see, they can also be played from the warp. So being able to burst them or combo them off is not that big of a deal. There's very few cards that I actually like have to see in my hand. And that's kind of a running theme in this is cards within my hand, which is a problem and kind of a funny thing that happens throughout this match.
A little foreshadowing for you.
Yeah, it's a little bit of foreshadowing.
This is a good interaction, in my opinion, too, because normally Vegeta just it's top 3, right, for Vegeta?
Mm-hmm.
But using the Demigra for the burst gives you a nice little 4th one. I don't think you need a 4th one for the Trunks, but it just helps you stack up that warp for you.
Yeah, it helps out, especially with Awakening, and one of the reasons why I comboed off the 5-drop Trunks, because you need 8 cards in the warp to awaken. So it does help in that sense and gives me that early, turn 1 awaken, which is kind of huge. Not the absolute biggest deal because 21 gets the +5 on the leader off of the search. And I've already put him down pretty far. He just has to play his Z battle card to get into awakening range. So it's not that big of a deal, but it is nice to be able to get my Toki Toki City effect on my first play.
Yeah, and the feeling was kind of mutual, just because I wanted. There's only you can only awaken at 4 when you're Android 21, so I was okay with letting the pressure get at least me to 5, because we were gonna self awaken anyway, so it didn't really change much on my end, at least too. But now he's got a board established, so now I have to worry about that too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we do just go into the Z battle card here. There's not. Like, I was trying to figure out in my head how I can awaken and maximize my energy at the same time. So I do a pretty good amount of thinking in a couple of turns, but Here, I just decided to give him the pan immediately because I know I'm going to awaken and I know I'm going to be using that for stuff. So here's where we make a little joke. Here's where Jimmy's joking at me for slow playing, saying, "Are you going to tap the pan?" Because I'm going to combo it off. So I need to make. It's kind of the first real time I've brought this deck. It's the first time I brought this deck to local, so I wanted to make sure I was sequencing it right and getting the full effect out of everything that I was using.
Yeah, I've dabbled with the pan variation of this deck. I'm not a huge fan of running the one drop pan. It's nice in some matchups when you can board like even 2 or 3 of them and just leave them on your side. They have barriers, so they'll stick around for a little bit, and it feels bad using barrier removal on a one drop pan. And then just kind of like almost like spirit bombing your opponent, just giving all of your opponent all the pans, and then just there's ramp yourself 3. But this did actually like kind of make me think and make me do some like unoptimal plays to play around this pan being on my board, which we'll get into in a moment. But yeah, I think you go into the mandatory gathering off of that, which is that's really strong.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was worried about too, because I have the counter plays in my hand, the 4 drops, and I wanted to make sure I couldn't see a way of me feasibly using that in any circumstance. So I figured the best play here would be to just get the pan tapped so he can't use it to combo it off defensively, and I'd still get some value of it from the 21. And a free play searcher is really nice too, so it helped.
And just to put it out there, we do miss the token play. It is completely irrelevant. Would not have changed the game whether if the token was in play or not. That would happen at the end of this turn, not on the combo, because during your turn you cannot use skills to play battle cards.
Yeah, and we do. And I think we do show it for a second, just to show that it was a thing. And yeah, it didn't change the game state at all. But here we go and see. Of course, we go and see the Z battle card, the good one. But I kind of missed a little bit of timing, and Jimmy helped me out on it with it, asking if I was going to do the effect of bottom deck, because I was just going to skip it immediately, because I was under the thought process of it, the Z stacking, but I don't know how to read, so I didn't read the rest of the effect. But it's still getting that off for 1 energy, and now having the 2 Z battle cards as energy 2 is super nice to have, and one of them's a blocker, so I do have that defense if I need it.
You just activated made it back to his board.
Well, yeah, obviously, because with the 2 Z battle cards and the pan, that's 3 blue energy up, and I don't want to get wavering willed or anything of that nature. So giving him the pan back made it so I deramped him in energy. I basically tapped in energy. So keeping that down.
Yeah, and the reason why I used both my super combos immediately to get my energy up was to play this Kusu. I didn't want the pressure to happen much on this turn, because I'm really fragile at 4 going against a very aggro deck like Supreme Kai. So I wanted to hit him some form or fashion, and hitting the dual attacker is really nice in this case, and that also limits his overwhelm choice too. So since he already did it the one time, I'd only have to deal with 1 more overwhelm this turn. So I feel like it was the best choice for me here. Granted, it was expensive, like using 2 super combos just to do that, but I felt like it was worth it in my case.
And to clarify, Jimmy, your turn player, you did your autos first, get the extra card to your hand to see if that was a card you wanted to pitch instead.
Mm-hmm.
This card's really good. I love this card.
Yeah, this card has just gotten significantly stronger with Z battle cards being a thing. And since once they're removed, they just get removed straight from the game. So it's just 1 energy, 2 removal, 20k crit. It's gross. Especially good in 21. We've said multiple times in the past, if you're struggling with the 21 matchup, just deal with the Z battle cards. They're kind of half of the deck. So essentially, I paid 1 to pop 2 energy, which is just really, really good.
Yeah, I felt the pressure there. And you saw me combo off my 8-drop just to stay alive, because I definitely can't take crits in this game. Crits would just lose me the game automatically. And I figured since this game was probably going to end in 1 or 2 turns anyway, we were not going to get there to even worry about the 8-drop. So it was more suited to use as a combo piece to keep myself alive than anything else.
Mm-hmm. So if you saw what I brought back to my hand off of the Reflexive Strike, and if you can peek my hand, you will notice that I have quite a few pretty decent cards. They're called super combos, if you're not familiar. Very good cards. But if you don't have a way to kill your opponent, then those cards aren't very good. You're just kind of waiting in the water, waiting for your opponent to finish you off. Slowly that'll be, because you can just, get super combos, you can protect yourself. But when those cards don't do shit for you, it's kind of rough. And right here, I was really banking on you not doing what you're about to do, which is play the secret rare. I was really hoping, because I overextended hard trying to put pressure onto you, hoping that you didn't have the secret rare, and then I could just kill you on the crackback. So I extended pretty much everything I had, and there's the token play.
Just say you have eaten it instead.
Yeah. So I extended hard on that turn and put all of my gas on the field. And I do have a couple of decent cards in my hand, but nothing that is going to be a threat, especially to this board. Having a big 40k blocker and then being back up to 4 life, and I did feel pressure to have to just combo a little bit. I didn't want to overextend combos as well. I was just really hoping that I could draw into something good. And the Goten is a good draw, but not fantastic when you don't have the trunks to play it out for 1.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was actually okay with here was hitting the unison with the secret rare. Now that he's charged 1, and I didn't check to see if he had extras in his drop or warp, but being able to take the unison just stops the recycling effect from the leader, so it essentially turns off half of his leader effects, which I was cool with. Now that helps me avoid the pressure of 2 overruns a turn.
So here I'm really banking on your hand being bad, which Android 21 really can't have a bad hand with the amount of searching. So I choose here to give the secret rare Servant, hoping that you would feel the pressure to block with it and keep it tapped going into the next turn. Of course, you did have a floodgate, because 21 just can't have a bad hand, really.
Well, funny enough, that was honestly the only thing I could play. My hand was pretty flooded with. I had 3 of the 4-drop negates, so I couldn't. I had no way to really play those at this point in time. And they're 1+, they're 1 cost 10k combo, so I was a little bricked, but yeah, I had the one thing that would save me, of course.
Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier, with a lot of the cards in my hand being, fairly strong super combos, I really didn't want to swing and start bottom decking cards, because it felt really bad bottom decking those super combos. And now after pass, I'm staring down a dual attack Servant, 50,000, and I'm at 2 life, which is a problem. It was a massive gamble to give that card Servant, but it was. I felt like that was my high rolly option. Really put pressure into thinking about using the blocker on that card, which is usually just no brainer because it's 40,000. Nobody's swinging over that.
Yeah, and it really did though. Like I did not want to swing with it just because I wanted to add pressure onto you. I felt like if I was able to just survive the onslaught from your turn, then I had it. Like it wasn't really much of a problem for me. So I needed to keep that up at all cost, which that's what I had to do essentially. You gotta do what you gotta do. And here we go into the Z battle card. I just wanted to get a little bit more energy just to feel a little more safe in my own eyes, but it only cost me one since he had the battle card on board. And at this point now, he's just at 2 energy or 2 life, so it's just how can I close this out? And I didn't really want to tap everything I had just to play a 4-drop, so I wanted to make sure I can get as much as possible without spending my energy first. So here we go into the first swing with the secret rare, just to see if we can waste a negate, waste something. And here he goes into all of the super combos now just to keep himself alive.
Oh, did you restaining his Cooper? Was it the idea of potentially getting him just combo it off so it's less pressure? Because I feel like you might have done that a little bit early because he could have comboed that off.
Well, he could have comboed it off, but one of the things the reason I did that was I had Bad Omen in hand as well. So all I had to do was make one go through, and then just Bad Omen and win the game with it. And then he does something crazy by giving me that Goku.
Yeah, I didn't really have a better option, like at all. So. And here was another mistake. I kind of just knew that the game was over. I decided to petrification, and I was like, I'm just going to petrify that. Like, I should have petrified the Goku because it would have stopped the attack from there and forced you to play something.
Yeah.
But the Goku being double strike, just combo up and, kill me on it. But the right play would have been to petrify the Goku, keep it from attacking, but you still had cards in hand. You still had 4 energy up. Like, you did have Bad Omen, so only one of those attacks had to go through, and then you could follow with Bad Omen, or you could have just play Bad Omen straight up.
Yeah, just hard casting.
Yeah.
With that being said, thank you for tuning in. Keep on his buttons, links, and descriptions, and thanks for tuning in.